to earth. Do you remember? Why have we taken birth? Do you remember?
Yippee skippy. Good morning, everyone. How are you today? With that kind of send-off, I could just sit down now, right? I love the reading. I hope it's still here, because the reading is a better opening than I had. God works in these mysterious, magnificent ways. God is. We are. I am. You are. We are the offspring, the manifestation, the emanation of a universal wholeness. This universal wholeness in us is a very true sense of the term, because as the originating principle of life, we have God or universal spirit, out of which anything and everything is made, and I say, possible. Therefore, everyone is truly born of God. We are a divine emanation of spirit. You are, right here, right now. Perfect, whole, and complete, just as you are. And you are God expressing God's self as only you can. This magnificence that God is longing to express through you, and only the way you can express it. There's this divine, perfect idea inside of each one of us. And it is God longing to express God's self through us. And I say that when we have our actions consistent with this longing, we are caring for our souls. When we care for ourselves and our souls, we allow this divine idea to have its way with us. We allow ourselves to surrender into the next unfoldment, the next chapter, the next higher vibrational emanation of who we truly are. Never to be more than we think, but to always be the magnificence of God, which is longing to express through us. A full self-expression of the divine. Deepak Chopra says it this way. The seventh spiritual law of success is the law of Dharma. Dharma is a Sanskrit word that means purpose in life. The law of Dharma says that we have taken manifestation in physical form to fulfill a purpose. The field of pure potentiality is divinity in its essence, and the divine takes human form to fulfill a purpose. According to this law, you have a unique talent and a unique way of expressing it. There is something that you can do better than anybody else in the whole wide world. And for every unique talent and unique expression of that talent, there are also unique needs. When these needs are matched with the creative expression of your talent, that is the spark that creates affluence. Expressing your talents to fulfill needs creates unlimited wealth and abundance. I am a financial planner. I've been leading my workshop for the last 20-some years, and I am certain in every marrow of my body that each one of you has a unique gift to give to the world, a gift that's based on your skills, your abilities, your passion, your education, your interests, this skill that only you can give. And as we know this truth from our beloved Ernest Holmes, the beliefs that we have accepted are continually being brought forth in our experience. Your thinking is the mold of your experience. We know that spiritual truth. And I love the way Reverend Marcia Sutton says it. She says it so simply, what you believe, you receive. What you believe, you receive. We know this is the spiritual truth. And so our experience is one of which, what is our consciousness around us? I grew up on a farm outside of Loveland, Colorado. You know Loveland, Colorado. My dad was a farmer. We grazed wheat, barley, alfalfa. We had chickens and we had cows. And we didn't have inside plumbing until I was in 3rd grade. Shocking as that is. And I saw my dad work really hard. And my mom, you know, if you're a farmer's wife and you don't have inside plumbing and you don't have, you know, a gas furnace, I remember my mom would heat water in the wood stove, in these copper kettle things, and then she would lug them out to the wringer washer and do the laundry. I saw my parents work really hard. And then there was this thing that happened around August. And I have the adult words for it now, but I didn't know then what it meant. But based on the amount of tonnage of wheat and barley we deposited, we got a settlement check based on the price of wheat and barley. And you know what happened that day? My parents were happy. And we did this thing, we took this piece of paper, which I now know is a check, but we took the piece of paper and we drove down to Berthoud, Colorado, and we deposited in this building which was brick, which I now know is the bank. And we did something after that we never did. So we went out to lunch at the Wayside Inn. The best fried chicken, mashed potatoes, and biscuits you could ever have. And my parents were happy. And it was a good day, and you know, we topped it off. We would go get an ice cream cone after that. It was like, wow, I don't know what happened with that piece of paper, but I like this. And then something would happen around January, February, or March, and it would feel different. And my dad would be at his desk, and it would seem like for hours, and my mom would be off in the kitchen watching. And then at some point, he'd throw his pencil down. He'd scoot back from the desk and he'd say, well, I guess we'll just have to go to the bank and borrow money until the crops come in again. At that point, my mom would start crying. And I don't know about you, but I hated it when my mom cried. And as a little girl, I wanted to do something, but I couldn't. But with that background, I decided, okay, well, you got to work hard. And even if you do, it's not going to turn out. And you can see that with a little girl with that background, you can see why I would come to that conclusion. And you all have come to some conclusion about how life is. It's inconsistent with the truth, the capital T truth, with God. So there was a moment when I was between jobs, and I'd taken this coursework to become a certified financial planner, but I'd been an HR director for 10 years, and I knew how to do that, and I made good money, so I was sitting in my living room looking out over the Arboretum. If you've been to Seattle, you know what that means. It's a beautiful bunch of trees, and I was having a moment. It's just like, what am I supposed to do? Go back to my HR job, which I know I can make money, or am I supposed to start this financial planning practice? And I don't have any money. It's like, yeah, really. What should I do? What should I do? And at that moment, God spoke. I was alone in the house, and God spoke, and God said, work with people and their money. And I listened, and I said yes. That was 24 years ago. I have a financial planning practice that thrives. We have clients that we've had for 20, 22 years, 25, 20, 18 years. I've written 2 books. They're out there. I've been on TV. I've been in Wall Street Journal. You know, there's all these things that have happened, and I was like, how did this happen? These things happened because I said yes, and I realized that God spoke to me and said, you can, you work with people and their money. And so my life has been a journey of miracles and manifestations beyond my wildest dreams. I was asked to write a book. Nobody gets asked to write a book. Everybody wants to write a book, but nobody gets asked to write a book, right? But that's God, because I said yes. Because I was like, okay, God, work with people in their money. I don't know how to do that. Okay, I'll open a financial planning practice, but all the rest that's happened since then, there's no way my finite human mind would have a clue about what was going to happen. But I said yes. And I have had clients over the years that I've encouraged them to say yes. One time I had a client come in, Michael, and he was working at Microsoft as a programmer, and he just looked downtrodden when he walked in. I'm like, Michael, you don't look so good. What's up? And he said, I can't stand my job. I don't want to do this anymore. I said, well, Michael, if you could do anything, what would you do? He goes, I would do my art. And you know when people say, I would do my art, part of you goes, are you any good? I mean, come on, tell the truth. So I thought, okay, well, do you have any art you can show me? He goes, yeah, I brought my portfolio today, because I thought we might have this conversation. He opened up his portfolio, and I was overwhelmed with the beauty. It was magnificent. He's a mathematician, and he represents mathematical equations in art. I looked across the table at him, and I said, Michael, you must resign from Microsoft today. He said, Karen, I'm a financial planner. I said, I know. And you must resign today. He resigned 2 weeks later. Since then, he has had showings in Santa Fe, Boston, Scottsdale, New Orleans, and he's shown at the Rotunda Gallery at the National Academy of Sciences in Washington, D.C. This is what happens when we say yes to our unique gift. Had another client come in. He was retiring, and he said, Richard, what are you going to do with your life? Because he's, energetic and full of life. And he said, well, I've got this idea. I really love writing, and I really love teenagers, young adults, and I want to put it together somehow. I said, Richard, just go home and start writing about it because you're a writer, and because you write about it, you'll figure it out. He came back a few months later. He goes, I figured it out, Karen. I said, what are you going to do? He runs a program. He's run a program for the last 13 years. And he and mentors go into youth detention centers, homeless centers, and psychiatric hospitals where youth are. And he has them write poetry about their journey. He has won the Mayor's Award for Arts, and he's been named a Microsoft Integral Fellow by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. This is what's happened when we say yes. Last time I saw him, he said, yeah, I was just down to the King County Detention Center because they called me because there's this young man in there who had beaten up on 4 guards and four other youth. And he asked to see me because he knew that his anger had to be expressed in a different way. And he asked if I would write poetry with him. Richard's, I'm going to quote him, the work and the kids that we work with are a gift to us. For we that work with them are realizing a part of ourselves. We bear witness to these kids with the faith that something changes in them when we listen. Did Michael know he was going to be showing in D.C. when he quit Microsoft? Did Richard know he would have worked with over 6,000 teens since he started? No. Did I know I'd be here today when I said yes? No. But when we say yes, doors open up. The universe is asking for us to give our gifts. For we are here for a high and holy purpose. And the infinite mind has a plan. Are we willing to listen and to say yes? And be willing to care for our souls by regifting our gifts? I know some of you are like, but Karen, how do we do this? Well, first of all, you wake up and you realize what it is. And each morning you say, God, use me this day for thy will. And you are grateful that you know your purpose. And I can hear some of you from up here saying, I can't do that, Karen. I won't make you raise your hand. I can't do that. I can't do what I really love to do and make money. I don't know how. Well, this is where you have to be really careful, because we know, as Ernest Holmes says, the beliefs which we have accepted are continually being brought forth in our experience. Your thinking is the mold of your experience. If you say you can't, you can't. But I know you can. And I know God is just waiting for you too. And so, to support you, you have beloved ministers, you have practitioners. You meditate daily, you do your spiritual practice, you take these classes, your program is full of these things. I don't think I've been to a church that's got that much going on. All of these things are to support you in taking that step that you're being called to. You're asking yourself, how can I circulate the gifts that are my God-given gifts, the gifts that I have been blessed with? How can I circulate it? How can I give it? How can I share it? And in that opening up and saying, yes, there's insights, there's revelations. There's this endless flow of energy of the giving and the receiving. This flow of giving and receiving takes over your body. And then you start vibrating at a higher vibrational level of vitality and health. Not fear, doubt, and worry, but the grace and energy of all the vitality of spirit within you. You are now in harmony with God, in the harmony of the universe. Recently I had this test done so I could see about my health. The health revealed that I'm healthier than 93% of women my age. I've never gotten applause at that line before. But I know it's because I'm doing God's work. I know it. I know it because I am energized on a daily basis. I go to work and I love my staff and I love my clients, and I know that I am doing what God has put on me on the planet to do, is work with people and their money. And leading the workshop is a full self-expression of that. Yeah, we'll have challenges. You'll come up to like, oh God, gee, they didn't see that coming. And what you do is then you open up to God. Again, okay, God, help me handle this. Show me the way. How do I get a book published? How do I get that song on a CD? I don't know, but God does. And the thing of it is, I want you to understand that God's plan for us is unique. And it doesn't have to be, solve the deforestation of the rainforests. It could be the greatest grandfather or grandmother on the planet. It could be saying hi to 3 people at the grocery store that don't expect it. It could be mentoring someone. It could be paying for the person in the coffee line behind you, only you're gone and they don't know what happened. For in God, it's about quality, not quantity. Each of you have qualities to express to the world that are magnificent, and the world is longing for them. And some of your qualities and actions you take, you may never know the consequence. There's these I live a block away from a park in Seattle, and the neighborhood gets together once a month, and they manicure and they take care of this park because there's not enough funding in the Parks Department. I mean, it's like an oasis in the middle of the city. And those people go back to their homes, and they don't see every person that walks through the park. But I know that when people walk through that park, they are uplifted. They can see that flower, they can smell that fragrance, and they can bask in the beauty of the park. And I suspect that their mood changes, they take a deep breath, and they're more at peace because they've walked through a park. My questions to you are, what are you going to do to circulate your gifts? What are you going to share? What are you going to give your life to? How are you going to share your life? And remember, God's in charge of the how. Our finite minds have no idea the magnificence of the unfoldment of your full self-expression that God has in mind. Our only job is to wake up each morning, center ourselves in God, and say, God, reveal to me this day what I am to do to welcome into my full self-expression your plan for my life. Show me this day what I am to do, and then to say yes and take actions with that. What are you going to do to bless the world and care for your soul? Let's pray. We know that there's this truth that there's only one power, one presence, God the good, omnipotent, omniscient, omnipresent, all-knowing, all-loving, all-wise, all-powerful. There's nothing too big for God to handle. And we know this life energy, this universal principle, this spirit is everywhere, in all things, of all things, and through all things. There is no place where God is not. I know that there is a divine plan in motion. I know that there's a divine expression in God. I know God is divine action working through each and every person. I know God is clarity. I know God is love. And as I know these things, I know they are the truth of me, and I know this is the truth of each and every person here. That each person has the qualities of clarity, divine recognition, divine order, divine right action within them right here, right now. And I say that this is a day of recognition, a day of recognizing the God-given gifts within each one of us. A day that we begin to re-gift the gifts that we've already been given. And if we're already doing it, we're amplifying them at an even higher level of energetic vibration. This is a day that we are caring for our souls. This is the day we say, God, use me. This is a day where we relax, and we know that God's in charge of the how. For the how is God's love. We know that today is the day that our job is to say yes and say, use me this day, show me the ways to recirculate my gifts this day and each day going forward. How can I care for my soul, this soul that I have been, such a precious gift from Spirit? How can I make the difference in the world I came here to make? Open my eyes to see and my ears to hear the divine guidance, the divine wisdom, and the divine grace of what is mine to do. And as I listen, as we listen, we are grateful from the bottoms of our hearts. We're grateful beyond words for the gifts we've been given, for the opportunity to re-gift these gifts to the world and to be able to fully express the divine emanation that is in each one of us. As we go forth this day and this week and this month and this year, may we catch that vision of our heart's highest desire, that vision that is the emanation and the demonstration of us caring for our soul. May we anchor it here on earth and call it heaven right here, right now. And so it is.